Hello YouTubers, welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and giving you a full tutorial on how to play Onitama. Now Onitama was put out by Arcane Wonders and is part of the Dice Tower Essentials line. Let me show you that there. And Onitama is a two-player abstract strategy complete information game. Now I'm going to explain what that all means in a minute if you're not familiar with those terms. It is, again, two players, just for two players, and it is said to be about a 15-minute game, which is about accurate, though after playing a few games, that might even be a little long. This is a very quick-to-play game, and it says recommended for ages 14 and up. Now, I often think these estimates are a bit high, and in this case, I think this estimate is quite high. This is one of those 5 minutes to learn, lifetime to master type games, but thanks to the 5 minutes to learn, you could teach this to a child in the single digits of age. I think this is a game that's great for all ages. So, first thing I want to draw attention to as we look at the product itself is the box. Every once in a while, the designers will go above and beyond in box design, and I think this is one of those cases. I very much like this box, and let me show you why. Well, first of all, I want to show you the artwork on the box is very nice. It has this old kind of watercolor feel to it, showing some martial arts fighters dueling on the cover with a nice temple in the background. One of the things I like about it is it's very space conscientious. It is just the right size for all of its components without being too large, and they put the name on every side of the box. Now, I mean, this is a small thing to talk about, but when you start running out of space on your shelves and you want to be able to put something in a shelf like this, sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, what is that game? I can always see right on the shelf. I'm looking for a game for just two people. Lynn and I just want to play a game. Oh, I need a two-player strategy game. What am I going to recommend? Oh, look, there's Onitama. And that's great. I love that they did that. In addition, the box has a really nice magnetic lid. It magnets shut right there, and as you open the lid, you'll see what I'm talking about how there's no wasted space. So first you have the rule book here, and then as I take off the rule book, here you have the 10 game pieces, the cards, and the board. Now the board is actually done on a mat, and is done in the same sort of material that the old mouse pads used to be made of. So now your pieces are plastic pieces that look like little martial artists. I'm going to show you some of the pieces right here so you get an idea of what we're looking at. This is one of the red pieces, okay, and this is one of the blue pieces. It's fairly basic. Looks like he's got a belt tied there, and he's wearing some sort of gi maybe. And he's got his hands up in a defensive stance. The board is quite nice. It rolls out. It is a, like I said, mouse pad type material. That is what the board looks like. You have the blue temple on one side and the red temple on the other, so you specifically do have to set up on the right side. The kings in this, if you will, are the masters. Now, each player has one master in the middle of all of the other little martial artist pieces, which are their students. So this is the blue master, and this is the red master. Now, then there are the cards. Now, the cards in Onitama are very nice. It's a small deck of cards. The backs say Onitama on them, have this lovely little parchment kind of look to them. On the front, they have the name of a Kung Fu style, it's the style of the boar, the elephant, the tiger, and as you can see here, they have a black square in the middle. That's where whatever your piece has started out, and they have gray squares. Different moves have different numbers of gray squares. The gray squares are the places you can move to, and we're going to go into that when I'm explaining the game. They're fairly self-explanatory, and if you've played either the Duke or Jarl from Catalyst Game Labs, different company, you'll be used to looking at diagrams like this because they use a similar system. So that's what the components look like. Now, I'm going to explain what I meant earlier when I said this was an abstract strategy game and that it was a complete information game. So an abstract strategy game is a game like chess or checkers, or even if you want to go a little more obscure with older games, games like Go and Nine Man's Morris, and with more modern abstract strategy games, or games like Jarl, the Duke, and Swords and Strongholds, the mouse card game, which I've already reviewed, and feel free to look at that review on my channel. So abstract strategy games are games where you have pieces on a board that are representing your side in a fight or war, and their moves are a bit abstract, but meant to represent the capabilities of those units that they are representing on your board. Now, some abstract strategy games, and this newer boom of abstract strategy board games that have been coming out a lot lately, are incomplete information games. They will have something in them that's either random or that is like a hand of cards in poker that you get to keep as a secret from your opponent. In the case of Swords and Strongholds, which again you can watch the review on my channel, you have a hand of cards, and the hand of cards is kept secret from your opponent, so there is something that your opponent doesn't know, and that's your hand of cards. In other cases, like Jarl and the Duke, there's a bit of randomness to it. You can choose either to make a move or to draw a new tile to add to the board. When you draw a new tile, it's randomly drawn from a bag, and therefore, again, there's something that you can do that your opponent will not be sure what it will be because he doesn't know what's going to come out of the bag. Now, this is an abstract strategy game, but this is a complete information game. The cards are, which I'll show you when I show you how to play, the cards are going to be face up on the table. So everything that you are capable of doing, every move that you could possibly do, your opponent knows. The same goes for you, though. Every move that your opponent can do, you know. So there's no surprises. If you make a mistake, it's because you didn't take something into account. So it is a game that you really do need to pay attention. You need to take a few minutes to think about your move on your turn. So that's a totality of a look at the game and some basics of the ideas behind the game. Let's go to the table. I'm going to teach you how to play Onitama, and then after we're done there, we'll come back and I'll review it and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so here you see the pieces set up on a board of Onitama. You have a master set up in between his students on either side, on the blue and the red side of the board. The master is sitting on his like color temple, so the blue master on the blue temple and the red master on the red temple. Now, once you set up the pieces, you have to shuffle the cards, so I'm going to do that real quick here, and we'll get a nice random mix of cards. Just do a quick shuffle for the video. And after you shuffle the cards, you deal 2 cards to each player. So here we go. 1, 1, 1, and 1. There we go. Now, we can see that the red player has received the Ox and the Mantis card, and the blue player here has received the Dragon and the Monkey card. A 5th card is then drawn from the top of the deck, and the 5th card will tell us who goes first. Now, the symbols in the bottom right corners here, you see this one being a red symbol, this one being a blue symbol, tells you which player is going to go first. So since the 5th card was the tiger and it has a blue symbol, it will go on the right-hand side for the blue player, facing him, and the blue player will take the first move. So now, the way you move in Onitama is you choose to make a move based on one of your 2 cards that are here. So I have a dragon and I have a monkey card. So now my dragon has a much longer distance move and is very interesting. So I'm going to hold on to that. Instead, I'm going to make a monkey move. So I'm going to move him according to the way the monkey moves. Now remember, he starts in the black square, and he can move to any one of the gray squares. So he can move diagonally, forward or back 1 space, and that's how the monkey works. So now I just moved him as per the monkey. So I take my monkey card, I flip it around, I put it oriented to the right of my opponent, and I retrieve the tiger card, and it is now my card. Now my opponent can make a move based on either the Mantis or the Ox. So the Ox has a nice little just 1 space forward move, so my opponent's going to do that, and then they do the same thing. They put the Ox card facing me, and they take the monkey card. Now this is the gist of how a game of Onitama plays. You go back and forth, you play one of the cards that's in front of you, you take the card that's on the side of the board, you give the card you just played to the other side of the board, which then your opponent is able to take on their turn. Your goal is to win in one of two different ways. The first way you can win is by capturing your opponent's master. The masters are like the kings in chess. If you capture a master, it's game over and you win. The other way to win, and this is a really interesting way to avoid stalemates, is you can win if you're able to maneuver your master onto your opponent's temple space. Now I like this a lot, and the reason I like this is, let's say we've already captured all the student pieces, and all that's left are the masters. If this were a game of chess and you just had two kings on the board, you're almost guaranteed to call it a stalemate and a draw at some point. But in this game, you keep maneuvering until the first person who's capable of making it to the other side gets onto their opponent's temple space, and boom, they win. Now, I've never actually seen this game get to this point where there's no students, but I have had my wife defeat me in this method twice when we're knocked down to just a master and one or two students, and she's able to outmaneuver me, get to my side of the board before I realize what she's doing, and rather than trying to take my master, she just jumps onto my temple space, and she beats me that way. That actually seems to be her preferred way of winning the game. So that's how you play Onitama. So now, let's go back upstairs, and I'll give you a review, tell you what I think of it, and we'll get a second opinion. Alright, so that's how you play Onitama. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the introduction was where I bought this particular copy. The copy I was showing you, I purchased at Gen Con from Arcane Wonders at their booth. So now, let me give you my opinion of the game, and I will rate it for you. Onitama feels like a very simple to learn, very fun, quick to play, abstract strategy game. It fills a niche that I don't really have in the newer abstract strategy games because of how it is a complete information game. It removes most of the randomness from it. There is a bit of randomness in the beginning when you shuffle up the cards and deal random moves to each player. However, once you've done that, everybody gets to use all of the cards at some point during the game, and you know what moves your opponent has, as well as your opponent knows what moves you have. So from that point on, there's no randomness at all. It's now a fixed set of moves. You and your opponent each has two cards you can use at any given time, and you know exactly what card you're going to get after you use one of those two cards. So it has a lot of interesting mechanics. Now, most of them are drawn from other places. There's nothing 100% revolutionary and new here, and it's not an incredibly complicated game. There's not a huge amount of depth to it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of complexity created by the different combinations of cards you can have, whereas the base rules of the game are very simple. And that can be a very good thing because it's very easy to pick up. It's very good to play with someone who's not an avid board gamer or with a child that you're trying to get into playing games. I gave this game on BoardGameGeek.com 7 out of 10 stars. Now, 7 stars is a positive review. That means I will play this game when anyone asks. And that is how I feel about this game. If I'm hanging out with one person, or it's just me and my wife, for instance, and she says, hey, let's play Onitama, I'll always say yes. It's a fun game. It's a quick game. It's a great first game to play before you go into play other games, or if you're playing a group of games of Onitama itself. The last time I played this, we played 4 games of it in a row. And you know what? The 4th game was just as fun as the first game. I lost a lot of those games, but that was okay because I enjoyed playing them. This is a solid addition to my stable of abstract strategy games. I like to have a lot of abstract strategy games for those occasions when it's just Lynn and I playing a 2-player game, or when I have someone else over and again we're just looking to play a 2-player game. And I love having those 2-player abstract strategy games for those occasions. And this game is a solid game. There's no ambiguities to the rules. The look of the game is really cool. The theme of the game is really cool. It plays really well. It's really fun. If you like abstract strategy games, if you're a fan of games like The Duke and chess and Swords and Strongholds, and you're looking for another one to flesh out your stable, you could go a lot worse than this game. This is a good game. But let's get a second opinion. Lynn, how many stars out of 10 did you give to Onitama?
7.
So this is one of those rare cases where Lynn and I are in total agreement. We both gave it 7 stars. So this is a solid 7-star game, which again means that anytime somebody asks and someone else is in the mood to play, she's willing to play this game, which is great because I will often be in the mood to play this game because I like it a lot. And if I ask her and she's going to say yes, that's perfect. That's exactly the kind of game that I want on my shelf. So there you have it. That is Onitama. Please comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me other abstract strategy games you love to play if you're a fan of the genre. And if you liked this review and would like to see more like it, please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Well, I will be back in a couple days with another video. And until then, game on.